Manoj Jarange Patil. This one man from Maharashtra's Beed has stirred a huge political storm since the past couple of months. Born in a modest Maratha family, Jarange Patil is on a fast unto death. His demands are simple. It is to provide 16% reservation to the Maratha community in Maharashtra. The demand is simple, but the way to achieve that demand is filled with complications. In the video, we give you a guide to understand what the Maratha reservation is and why the protests in the state are turning violent. Hello and welcome to The Wire. My name is Zishan Kaskar. Before getting into understanding the issue, first a major update. Manoj Jarange Patil has ended his fast after 9 days. 4 ministers visited Jalna to request him to end the fast. CM Eknath Shinde has promised to resolve the issue before 2nd January 2024, which is approximately 2 months from now. Although the fast is over, Jarange Patil remains very much in the driver's seat. Now, let's deep dive in the story. Let us first understand the chronology of events that took place in the past couple of months. The demand for reservation of Marathas is not new. The protests were at the peak in 2016, but since the 2019 election, Maratha reservation was a politically non-issue. Things changed overnight on 1st September 2023, when the Maratha agitation in Jalna was crushed by the state police. Videos of police lathicharge on Maratha protesters spread like wildfire. NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar wasted no time to visit the Maratha agitators and meet their leader Manoj Jarange Patil on the very next day of the lathicharge by Maharashtra police in Jalna. The visuals of police beating innocent protesters resonated amongst the ordinary Marathas, and suddenly Jarange Patil had become a household name. He began fasting from 2nd September with only one demand: to give a blanket OBC reservation of 16% to the Maratha community. Jarange Patil was clear in his head about who was to blame for the violent action against innocent protesters. That was Home Minister of the state, BJP's Maharashtra man, Devendra Fadnavis. The escalating conflict between Jarange Patil and Devendra Fadnavis came to a head on Tuesday. Jarange Patil openly mocked the Deputy Chief Minister and Home Minister for their announcement stating that protesters would be charged with attempt to murder if they engaged in arson. Now that the Maratha agitation in parts has turned violent, and as protesters burned down the house of a Lok Sabha MP, we shall understand the history of it, the politics behind it, and the possibilities that arise as this Maharashtra agitation develops. First, let us understand the history of Maratha reservation. In the 1990s, when the Mandal Commission recommendations were implemented by the VP Singh government, the Marathas were kept out of reservation. Mandal report did not consider Marathas to be a backward community and thus were not a part of the OBCs. Since 1997, the Marathas have been protesting for reservation. In July 2008, a committee commissioned by the Maharashtra government and led by retired Judge R.M. Bapat released a report rejecting the idea of reservations for Marathas. 6 years later, in 2014, another committee chaired by the current BJP minister Narayan Rane presented a contrasting report. This committee argued that Marathas constituted 32% of the state's population and required economic support, thereby justifying the need for reservations. At that time, Chief Minister Prithviraj Chauhan's government approved a proposal to reserve 16% of government jobs and seats in educational institutions for Marathas, along with 5% for Muslims. An ordinance was swiftly passed to enforce this decision. However, the implementation of the ordinance was promptly contested in the Bombay High Court, leading to a stay order in 2014. In November 2018, the then Chief Minister of State Devendra Fadnavis enacted the Maharashtra State Reservation for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes, which is the SEBC Act. This legislation granted a 16% reservation in education and government jobs specifically for the Maratha community. Notably, this reservation did not extend to the Muslim community. In 2021, the Supreme Court intervened and halted the Maratha reservation, citing the 50% cap on total reservations established in 1992. The court maintained that there were no exceptional circumstances or an extraordinary situation in Maharashtra that warranted the state government exceeding this 50% limit. Responding to the Supreme Court's decision, Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar expressed the state government's determination to secure reservation for the Marathas. He stated that efforts were underway to ensure that the existing reservation, which currently stands at 62% in educational institutions and government jobs, including 10% for economically weaker sections, it remains legally viable in both the High Court and the Supreme Court. Now, this is a legally contentious issue as the 50% limit was breached when the EWS reservation was implemented, and the Maratha reservation issue is still in court. Now, the next issue in line is to determine who a Maratha is. So, who is a Maratha and the complication behind it? So, with all the talk about the Maratha reservation, it is only imperative to understand who a Maratha really is. A common mistake that North Indians do is that they confuse Marathi with Maratha. Marathi is a language or a regional identity, while Maratha is a caste. It is a caste in which Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born. The Maratha is the Kshatriya or the warrior caste of Maharashtra. So why does this dominant warrior caste feel the need to have reservation in education and jobs? It is because the Marathas are not a single homogeneous unit. There are various subcastes within the Marathas. The Kunbis are one of the subcastes among the Marathas. The Kunbi community has a primarily agrarian background. They have traditionally been involved in farming and agriculture. All Marathas also hold agricultural land since medieval times. They work in their own land, so Kunbis and Marathas are same by profession. The surnames are also same. Let's now talk about the complications in the Kunbi Maratha issue. In the 1960s, Punjab Rao Deshmukh, a prominent figure in Maharashtra, conducted a survey challenging the Maratha identity of the farming community. He proposed that they were not Marathas but rather they are Kunbis, a distinction that was controversial at the time and received widespread attention. This debate led to significant historical and socio-political implications as well. During that era, farmers in the Vidarbha region of Maharashtra obtained certificates identifying themselves as Kunbis in substantial numbers. However, farmers in the Marathwada and the Western Maharashtra region questioned whether they should be classified as other backward classes or OBCs, raising doubts about their traditional status as landowners. Fast forward 4 decades, the third generation of these Marathas farmers from the former ashram schools in Vidarbha now benefit from reservation under the Kunbi category. Meanwhile, Maratha farmers in Marathwada find themselves excluded from the Maratha reservation, a development that has stirred debates and discussions, marking a significant shift in the socio-political landscape of Maharashtra. And that is the reason why the current agitation by Jarange Patil demands a blanket reservation for all Marathas under the Kunbi caste certificate. The complication increases when we look at Marathas from the Konkan region. Here, the Kunbis and Marathas have distinct cultures. BJP Maratha strongman from Konkan, Narayan Rane, also spoke out against giving reservation to Marathas under Kunbi certificate. Marathas of Konkan consider Kunbi to be a lower caste, and thus they won't accept any reservation given to them under a Kunbi name. The Kunbis are already a designated caste under the OBC, and now Jarange Patil demands that all Marathas be counted as Kunbis. Let's move on to understand the political implications now of this huge Maratha agitation. Marathas constitute about 32% of the state's population, but this huge chunk of population is politically divided. They do not have a single party to fall back upon. However, since its inception, the Nationalist Congress Party of Sharad Pawar has an image of being a pro-Maratha party. On the other hand, the BJP has been trying to woo the OBCs in the state. In fact, the OBCs are the BJP's strongest voter base. The OBCs fear Marathas encroaching on their 19% reservation rights, and this conflict intensifies at a time when the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party is already politically vulnerable in the state. The party faces challenges in maintaining unity among its coalition allies, who both have Maratha leaders at the helm, the Shiv Sena and the rebel faction of the NCP led by Ajit Pawar, while also appeasing its core OBC voter base. To address the discontent within the OBC community, the BJP swiftly launched the OBC Jagar Yatra, starting in the Vidarbha region. This initiative aims to emphasize the BJP's commitment to the welfare of the OBC community and assure them that the reservation benefits won't be compromised for the Marathas. Vidarbha, a stronghold of the Congress party before the BJP's rise in 2014, holds significant political influence in Maharashtra, boasting 10 Lok Sabha seats and 62 assembly seats out of 288. However, the BJP faces a growing challenge from the resurgent Congress in Vidarbha, where the party has 15 of its 45 MLAs. The BJP's OBC voter base began to shift during Devendra Fadnavis' tenure as chief minister due to internal rifts within the party. Several OBC leaders, including Pankaja Munde, Prakash Mehta, and Eknath Khadse, who later joined the NCP, felt sidelined or allegedly sabotaged by Fadnavis, leading to their discontent. These internal challenges threaten the BJP's stability in the region, adding complexity to the ongoing Maratha OBC reservation dispute. Now let's come back to the present. Manoj Jarange Patil returned to fasting last week after Eknath Shinde failed to provide a solution within 40 days as promised. Two MPs have sought resignation from their post while the protesters have turned violent in parts of Maharashtra. This issue has a potential of ballooning into a full-blown political issue in Maharashtra just before the Lok Sabha polls. The complications involved with providing the Maratha reservation and the internal caste rifts will only delay the process. So, will the Marathas get OBC reservation? Will the OBCs accept it? Will the BJP avert a political crisis in Maharashtra? And will this agitation be the death knell for BJP Shinde in Maharashtra? These are some important questions which have no answers at this moment, but it is a burning issue. In the coming days, we will hopefully have answers to most of these questions. My name is Zishan Kaskar, and you are watching The Wire.